Hey you, hi, how's it going? It's Lee Syatt, your old buddy, old pal. I'm back from Denver, and I'm here to stay. I mean, I didn't go anywhere when I was in Denver, but I'm back in lovely Massachusetts, and I'm here for another week to give you a great podcast. Wanted to say thank you very much to everyone who has been checking out the podcast. If you're new, if you're old, if you're young, if you're fat, if you're skinny, whatever you are, I love you. I really do appreciate you checking it out. And thank you for all of the comments about my first open mic, which I did in Denver. And hopefully I'll be doing a lot more because I was rusty. But I'm doing actually pretty well. I've been doing a lot of solo episodes, and I'm going to continue to do those. But this week I wanted to spice it up a little bit. It is... it's the end of the pandemic and we're all about to go get laid again. Yay! Hopefully me. My DMs are open. But no, really. It's just true. We're all about to get laid again, and in celebration of that, I wanted to bring on a very funny comedian named Jaime Lee. And Jamie, you might know, you're like, why does that name sound familiar? It's because Joey would tease me constantly about her, and still does almost every time we talk. He's like, "You call Jamie yet? Get her to let you sniff her asshole?" No, Joey, I haven't just asked somebody who I've only met virtually if I can sniff their asshole. Who knows? The crazy thing is obviously not everybody likes that, but there are people who respond positively to that. And my thing is, can you wear a name tag? Could you greet, like, hi, nice to meet you, my name is Sarah, and I would like if you just asked me if you could sniff my butthole, because I don't know how I'm supposed to know whether or not that's okay. It seems like it wouldn't be okay, and I think for most people probably is not okay. But every once in a while, like, I had a girl recently who got, this is a little bit of an exaggeration. She didn't get mad, but she questioned me. She's like, why haven't you asked for nudes yet? We were chatting on one of those dating applications, and I didn't ask for nudes. I didn't know that was I would love nudes. Any pictures of naked girls, as long as you're over 18, and preferably single, are great. I mean, there's nothing better than some boobies, but that sounded weird to say it like that, but it's just true. Everyone loves boobs, and I, myself included, and I just was unaware that I don't know. I'm not a prude. I love sex. I've done it like at least 2 or 3 times, and I just thought that you weren't. I don't know. I thought we were in the time. I thought that time was past. I thought that was like the Harvey Weinstein period, and now we were in a time where, like, we're back to like the 50s, where like I have to ask your father permission to court you. That I would be a lot more comfortable with that. I like rules. I'm a big fan of rules, or at least guidelines, so I know where I stand. In 2021, the issue that I'm having, besides being 100 pounds overweight and very low self-esteem, is I don't like that everyone. It's the reason why I drink Diet Coke instead of coffee. Everyone who ever drinks coffee around me is like, oh, I don't like this coffee place. This coffee is bitter. This Diet Coke is the same 98% of the time. Unless it's flat, then it's the same. So I like that. I like uniformity, and every girl is it's like, you know how like they have, I'm going a ton of it. I missed our analogy over here. But you know, like the porridge, like one I forget what that is. The 3 little bears, is it not 3 little, that's 3 little pigs. It's like Mama Bear, Baby Bear, and Papa Mama Bear. Like one's too hot, one's too cold, and one's just right. I don't it's very confusing to me as a nervous person. I don't because you've like that's why I think I've always been more of a relationship person. Is it takes me a while to like really feel comfortable and figure out a person because everyone's different and I don't like it. If I could date myself, which I've been in a very long-term relationship with little Jill over here, but I don't like the in theory the sleeping around, going on hookup situations sounds great, but I'm not someone who you look at and you go, I want to see what his dick looks like right away. Like I have to like charm you and show you that I can be funny and cute and I giggle sometimes, and then sometimes people are like, I guess I could see maybe just like a glance at it. No, it's not that. It's not grotesque. So I guess I'll throw him a bone. That's really how that situation usually goes for me. So it is confusing and frustrating as a person, and I'm sure. Trust me, I am sure that I and all men are. I don't know. I was gonna say just as confusing as women, but I would say it's probably different because and not to put all men in a lump and us together, but a lot of us are very focused on sex, and I get that, and that's probably a bummer for some women. So yeah, I think it's a different sort of confusion because I don't know, all the guys I know, if you want to play around with our special areas, we're into that. It's just a varying level of like if there's any weird stuff involved, or like me, I'm like the white bread of I'm like I'm not white bread. I'm like sourdough. I'm like toasted sourdough with olive oil and balsamic. Is that you get it? Like I'm like white bread with special. I'm white bread with benefits. That's how I describe. I don't like nothing painful. And you guys know my opinion on butt stuff, but I yeah, I guess that's about right. Toasted sourdough with olive oil and balsamic. Just, a little bit of kick. Maybe some red pepper flakes in there if I'm feeling freaky. Why does everything have to be about food? I don't know, but it does. So why am I telling you all of this? Because Joey teases me about Jamie and that I should hit her up. And I did hit her up, but not to see what her butthole looks or smells like. I'm sure it's great. But Jamie is a very funny comedian, and also is one of the top. I think it's like I checked on her profile. It's like 0.26%, something crazy. She's definitely in the top 1% of OnlyFans creators. She but she's just not. That's not all she does. She actually came from the marketing world, and she took that expertise and is translating it. She has like over 300,000 people on TikTok, and she's very funny, and she's very pretty, and she has an OnlyFans. So if you are either a man or a woman who finds Jaime Lee attractive, you can go to her OnlyFans, and I will pull that up right now. I believe it's just Jaime Lee Comedy. Let me check here. Yeah, yes, it is Jaime Lee Comedy on OnlyFans, and that's Jaime. Sounds like Jaime, but she's not a Jaime. She's a Jamie, and so yeah, if you're a man or a woman or whatever gender you might prefer, if you find Jaime Lee attractive, there's that. But she also has a podcast. I believe it's called Two Girls, One Blunt. And she has a Twitter. It's called The Jaime Lee Show, I believe. Bam. Yeah, look at me being prepared. The Jaime Lee Show. Again, her name kind of looks like Jaime, but it's not Jaime. It's Jamie. And she is a comedian. So if you're in the Boston area, be sure to follow her and go see a show. And you know what? I just to transfer quickly into it, you should, if your dad's single, tell him about Jaime, because not only would he like her content, but it's been a long quarantine for everybody. Maybe you're a dad out there and it's been a long quarantine and no one has seen your little man bod in a minute. I know no one's seen mine. I have like my goal body is a dad bod. And right now I don't know what I have. I have a divorced dad bod, and I'm looking to get back into, so a presentable dad bod. But Father's Day is just around the corner. Don't forget, it's in June, and you probably need a gift for him. Definitely need a gift for him. You came from him, or even if maybe you have a father figure in your life who maybe you didn't live in his balls, but he took you in like you have. You know what? Maybe I should get Joey. I was about to say real father. He's my biological, like, born and raised father. I don't really want to think about his balls, but he has them. I'm sure. I'm sorry, this is gross, but he has them, and everyone wants their balls to look presentable now. Okay, the pandemic's over, and it's time to take your balls out on a walk, and there's no better way to take them out. There's no better way to highlight your best feature than the Manscaped and the Lawnmower 4.0, okay? The Lawnmower 4.0 is here, and you're going to get 20% off plus free shipping with code Syatt, SYATT, at manscaped.com. It's a brand new. We used to have the Lawnmower 3.0. That one's retired. It's playing golf. It's playing bocce ball in Florida. Now, the Lawnmower 4.0. It has the same skin-safe technology. You're not going to cut, but you know what it has? Has a 4,000K light. See, look at that, bang. And it also has wireless charging. It also has a locking mechanism. So if you're traveling, you're not going to waste the battery and just vibrating, and TSA is going to have your bag blown up because they don't know why your bag's vibrating. It's not going to be because of the Lawnmower 4.0, I promise you that. So go to manscaped.com. Check out all of their great products, from the crop reviver to the crop preserver. They have something new called the crop mop. I don't even know what that is, but it has a cool name and it rhymes. So go to manscaped.com. You're going to get 20% off plus free shipping with code Syatt, SYATT. Don't forget that you came from your dad's balls. Literally the first time I read that, I already told you, you grew up there. You spent probably the majority of your life there, unless, yeah, I guess whenever your dad had you is what, like, I don't know, you spend a good majority of your life swimming around your dad's balls and pay him back and make his balls look and smell amazing. And if you are grossed out thinking about your dad's balls, buy him a gift and tell him not to mention it. Say, Dad, we don't ever have to talk about this, but I'm glad to know that your balls look great. This year, show your original home some love with Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com and use code Syatt, SYATT. Thank you very much to Manscaped. Thank you for listening and watching. Don't forget, I do have a YouTube channel. And that's it. I want to welcome Jaime Lee. It's great to finally meet you in person, Jaime. It's been like, what, a year or two of like Joey. He just kept telling me about this girl that was a comedian in Boston, was super hot, and even before we left LA, he's like, you should give her a call. I'm like, what am I gonna just rent? I don't like going up to girls. I've been online dating since like Craigslist was out. Like I'm much better.
Did you Craigslist online date?
Oh, I did multiple times.
I
had long-term girlfriends from Craigslist. Oh yeah.
That's a thing?
No, it wasn't. But actually, I have a story about that. Well, okay. We'll start off with a bang. Why not? So well, like before I met Joe and before this, like I don't know, even Zooming conversation with you would be a little bit awkward for me, like more awkward than it already is.
It's
But
not awkward.
oh, I
We're
know
best friends already.
we are. Oh, and I'm already look. It's what 30 seconds in and I'm in the friend zone, guys. You see how quick that happened?
Oh my god.
But I was super nervous around girls, and I found Craigslist and I liked it better because you could actually think about what you were gonna say and like it wasn't in the moment. And somehow I got into this thing where I was instant messaging. I don't remember how it got set up, but I was instant messaging with this woman, supposedly, and like what they wanted was to have me like come over and fuck her while her boyfriend either was there or knew about it. I don't remember exactly if he was gonna be there or not. Yeah, exactly. But I was either a virgin or had like maybe one or two people at that point. Like it was very early on. There's no way I could ever even do that. But I remember I would have two windows up. I'd have her and him, and we'd be talking, and then he would send me messages like, "Oh, she's loving what you're saying," and I was like 19, maybe 20, and no, probably not. Yeah, somewhere around there. If I was 19, I was definitely a virgin, but I realized like 2 years ago that I was probably definitely only messaging one dude. There was never a phone call. There was never a picture. It was just
Oh my god.
all, yeah. So Craigslist, the point of that is Craigslist has some fucked up things on it. Now it's down. But yeah, I wouldn't, the
I
idea
think I
of,
would get murdered.
oh yeah, yeah, you'd be like a headline news and that happened, by the way. Like 10 years
I mean,
ago or
those
so.
things happen. I've been on Tinder. I went down to Florida and I matched with somebody's husband, and then he put me in a group chat with him and his wife, and they were like, "Let's have an orgy," and I was like, "Let's have an orgy." Y'all are both hot. It never happened, but
Oh no! Wait,
it was
what?
both of them talking to me.
And you said yes, and they flaked on you. Why like that? Why would that ever
No,
happen?
I was with a friend like on the trip, and then she wasn't down, and I was like, "Damn, we don't have to tell anyone."
And you can't go to an orgy alone. You got to go with I don't know much about the
I'm
orgy
on a
buddy
trip with
rules.
my girlfriend, and like the
Oh.
number one rule is you don't leave like your friends, you know. So I wasn't thinking with my vagina at that time. I was thinking about my friend. I was like, fine, if you're not down, we won't do it. All right.
Do you still bring that up? Like we could have had an orgy. What did you end up doing instead of an orgy? What's plan B on
I think
orgy
we went
night?
like to like a yacht party or something. Like
Oh,
we
that's-
ended up
that's
like
still pretty
partying.
good.
It was a good night.
Okay.
But yeah, no orgy. I've never
No
been in an orgy, but I was like, damn, this is dope.
Yeah, that would be fun. Okay, so that's kind of what I wanted to. I'm gonna obviously. So you're a comedian. You're a very funny
Yeah.
comedian in the Boston area for now. Maybe but you really blew up because you started doing OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Is that correct or no?
I think it was kind of like a mix of everything. So I was doing stand-up comedy. I'm very new to stand-up comedy. I'm very humble about it. I am like new. So like about 2 years, but half of that was COVID. So I had been coming up and I was like getting opportunities like pretty quickly.
Right.
And I think it's because I had stage presence. I was in sales, so I knew how to talk to people. It was like more of like the jokes and like learning comedy that I had to work on.
Right.
But when COVID happened, I had to switch my entire, I guess, I don't know, the direction that I was going in. So I started doing more online like videos.
Okay.
And then so I started OnlyFans at the same time. Then I started doing like online comedy, and my social media started growing. And then I quit my corporate job because OnlyFans, like the income just completely switched. And I was like, I'm not going to make money in sales, selling, marketing when businesses are closed. So it kind of all happened together. And obviously I think that with Joey mentioning me on his podcast and things like that, that just kind of boosted things.
Right.
And it's just been a nonstop thing from there.
That's why Joey. It's funny. Joey went through a couple phases of like retweeting, like I guess sex workers is the term, because some of them were like, because we had on the guy who ran R.I.P. the guy who ran the Bunny Ranch.
Okay, yeah.
And we had him on a couple times, and then he like people would just hit him up, and every once in a while, I think he likes to like fuck with his followers, not fuck with in a mean way, but like he'll just retweet like some hardcore porn stuff at like 6 a.m, and it's funny going through Twitter. But so obviously, or I mean, I don't know about obviously, when COVID hits, it's a fucked up thing. But a lot of people go to like Postmates, sign up for unemployment. A lot of people wouldn't be down to be partially or at all naked on the internet. What
Yeah.
have you been thinking about that before, or
Hell no. If
No,
you
okay.
ask me, like I guess I've been doing it for like a little over a year, like a month over a year. If you asked me then, like if I had whatever do OnlyFans, no, I was super judgmental towards it. I never wanted, I feel like I've been sexualized my whole life. And so I wanted people to look at me for like who I was and like my actual like abilities in comedy and everything. But I knew I wanted to be like some sort of like influencer. I wanted to like make money on my own. I wanted to be my own boss. And I realized that you could make money on OnlyFans without having to show like your entire body. And so when I started, I charged very high because I was like, all right, I'm trying to go the comedy route. There's not a lot of comedians on there at that time. And I didn't show like anything. Even if you wanted to see, like you paid $30 to subscribe to me. And if you wanted to see nipple, you had to pay an extra like $20.
Wow.
So there were a lot of pay barriers. And it worked out for me. Now I'm like a little bit more like, I don't care, because now that I'm in it, I realize like no one actually gives a fuck. I cared so much what people thought. I cared that I wasn't going to get opportunities, or everyone's like, oh, what about jobs in the future and things like that. And I'm like, I don't want to live that normal life that you want. I will never go back to corporate America. If that means I fucking become like a bartender, cool. I don't care. Like I do not want to work a 9 to 5.
Right.
And the more I just got confident with myself and like who I was, like those opinions couldn't really like shake me now. But no, it was definitely not the easiest thing like mentally to go through. But I was like, if I'm being sexualized, I might as well make fucking money off of it.
Oh my God. And that's the thing. And I have a ton of questions about this, but just from like my point of view, if I was a girl, I would have been like a legitimate whore, like on the street whore. Like it's amazing to me that more don't. The fact that you're on OnlyFans is tame compared to what I think I would have done as a girl. Just because there's so much, like, yeah, everyone's like, oh, what are you gonna do for jobs in the future? Well, maybe I won't need a job in the future if I do really well for 5-10. Like, imagine if you just do really well for 10 years and set yourself up to do nothing for the rest of your life.
And I think that what I want to do ultimately is like break that stigma. One, like when I got into comedy, just like being, I feel like a decent looking girl. Like I already
you can say you're a hot girl. You're being very. I'm a decent. Oh yeah, no. Like the librarian's like decent looking.
I feel like people were like, oh, you're just getting opportunities because you're good looking, not like because you're funny. And I was like, well, the growth on social media, like my social media isn't me like being super hot. It's literally me being a mess all the time, like no makeup, doing funny videos, and like just being me. And so I think that, I don't know, with OnlyFans, it's actually given me so many more opportunities, and I'm trying to like break that stigma. Like you can be smart and be somebody on OnlyFans. So I'm using that income. I started a company. Now I'm trying to like get other income streams. Now I'm teaching girls how to do OnlyFans.
Right.
The amount of opportunities that have come out of me starting it was way more than all the negative things that people said. So it's really cool. I'm very blessed to have started it, honestly.
No, and we're getting a little bit of it, and I have so many questions. Okay, so when you were thinking about starting one, because I'm gonna just be very honest with you, I've thought about not OnlyFans, because no one, well, gay guys would pay to see it, which I've thought about, and I honestly don't really care. And if I run out of other, if my podcasting doesn't go well, I will be a gay porn star. But
get it.
Yeah, I don't care. But did you ever think about doing something that wouldn't like ID you, like selling socks, underwear, feet pics, just like something that you could do and they would have no idea who you are?
I don't know why I feel like that's more intimate. Like someone
Really?
actually like smelling my underwear, even if they don't know it's me, it's just so intimate to me. So I've never done any of that. I've never sold socks. I've never.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. It freaks me out.
That's not my thing at all, but like, okay, so when I first started working with Joey, I had a moment of paranoia, and I started, because I went from working in TV post-production to just with Joey, and I was like, oh, how am I going to pay my bills? And I spent like 3 days doing those online surveys where they supposedly pay you after them, and I made like 18 cents in like 3 days. So when I was not doing much, I looked and I was like, I wonder if men can sell their underwear, and it turns out they can, but they also, like, I looked it up and like they're jerking off into the underwear,
Yeah.
and that seems, I don't know if I want my DNA just sent around the world. That seems
Well,
a little.
that's a huge thing too. Just me being on social media in general, like I'm not like I feel like I'm very polarized. You either really like me or you're literally like, fuck this bitch.
Right.
And that when you have haters, like there are people who are literally trying to take you down and like report your content and do things like that. And one of the big things that I've been seeing all over TikTok about selling panties and stuff is like, someone has your DNA. They could put that in a crime scene. And that would be my luck. Like I go to
Exactly, yeah.
prison or something because I was at like a murder scene.
Well, and not to be gross, but like, what are they gonna like? How are they gonna ID you? Like her vaginal fluids were. I was trying to think like that was the nicest way I could say that word, but I like that's gonna be at a crime scene. I don't know how that would happen. But no, it's so weird.
They're like, she's a whore. It makes sense.
Yeah, she's just leaking all over Boston. But it's weird. Like when you said the haters thing, the thing, and it's taken me a while to get used to. Like I felt like I was pretty okay with it, and I would get stuff when I was on the church all the time, but I for a while I turned off comments on my Instagram because I was like, oh, I just don't want to see it, and I'll just put up what I want to put up. But then I noticed like my likes went way down, and
yeah,
I
the
think
engagement.
yeah, people really wanted to leave comments, and I forget who it was. I think it was maybe Dice, and I know Joey would always tell a story about a football player who would sell shirts like "I hate so and so." I forget that player's name, but he was selling the shirt. So what I'm like starting to come to terms with is I'm just gonna put stuff up, and a view's a view. So I really, if you don't like me, I'm still getting paid for it. Like, listen,
Yes.
you can hate me all you want, and just give me those views.
I honestly, like, it's hard sometimes. I think, like, some of the things that I get in my DMs or people say, or I hear them talk about it, like, they'll pretend to be nice to my face and then, like, say shit about me doing OnlyFans or whatever, or that, like, I'm not funny and I don't deserve to be where I'm at. That stuff, like, got to me for a while. And I think, like, this whole summer I went through, like, a mental health thing because I was starting to grow on social media and that was getting more intense. But as I got to a point where I was like loving myself and like I focused a lot on like a self-love journey, I realized like anyone who's okay with themselves is not going online and saying mean things to people. If somebody's taking the time to bring you down when you are going out of your way to like make content and make people laugh and make people happy and it makes you happy, that person hates themselves. And the only reason they're being mean to you is because you're bringing out insecurities in them. Like maybe they don't have the confidence to post, or maybe they don't feel worthy, or maybe they wouldn't feel worthy if they were you because of their own internalized shit they're going through. And for me, then I almost like feel bad about it. And then I'm like, you know what? Keep commenting and keep hating and keep talking shit because you're literally boosting me in the algorithm and it's making me money. And from when I look at it at that point, I'm like, all right. And then there's sometimes like it still gets me. I'm human. So if I'm on TikTok, and TikTok is where it's the worst. If somebody's saying
really?
yeah, it's really bad on TikTok. And if somebody is saying mean things to me, like people are like, oh, you should go kill yourself. You're worthless. Like, this is why men don't like you. Like all this like horrible stuff. I just delete it. It's my page. It's where my piece is. And if I don't want that negativity on my page, I don't need it. And I just delete it and move on. And it's not easy, but I think like people know like it's not a reflection of who you are as a person. It's a reflection of how they feel about themselves.
People for a while, I wish Instagram had a mute, because for a while I would block people and people said, "Oh, don't block, it just gives them the set they know they got to you." So I used to not, but now I love blocking people. It makes me every time I do it, I get like a little bit of a smile. I'm like, I blocked you. You're not in my life
Literally,
anymore.
anytime somebody talks shit on my TikTok, I go to their page, I delete the comment, and then I go to their page and I block them. And I'm like, I don't need your support.
Yeah. No, it's just it's a weird thing about online, but okay. And the weird, like, you've said that a couple times, where people giving you shit comedy wise for doing this stuff. And I was in a very similar position. I wasn't attractive, but I was on Joey's show, so I was just starting my third year when the pandemic started. And I did shows, like I opened for Joey at the Wilbur. That should never have happened. And when people would say that, oh, like, it honestly, I'm not a really big motivational person. Like, all that stuff, like, you just gotta grind and all that. For whatever reason, it doesn't really get me going. But the fact that I knew people were gonna be saying that stuff about me made me work harder as a comedian, because I wanted them to, like, when I got up there, to be like, oh, he's just here.
Yeah.
Because Joey knows him, or he knows Joey. And then when I got off stage, and I've bombed plenty of times. This is funny. I went to an open mic once, and it was like a booked mic. So it's like just the second barely level. And I was stupid, and I put it on my stories, and these two guys from like Europe came, and it was like in the shitty Hollywood. It was no one should have ever been there. And they came up before the show, super happy to see me. Let's take a picture. And then I bomb super hard because it's a mic. And they didn't, like, they like actively ran away from me after the show. So it has backfired, but I really do try to, when I was doing comedy, to go out as much as I could. And I could have gone harder, but I knew people were going to say that, so it made me work harder.
Yeah. I think right now I'm kind of like, because I've been out from the pandemic and like moving to Boston comedy, like Boston comedy tried to cancel me like the first month I was here. And it was like one of the biggest posts in the comedy group online, because I tried to do like a topless comedy show and to raise money. And I ended up raising over $4,000 on my first show. I had 120 people on the Zoom show. Like, it was dope. But because I was new, because I was a girl, because I was showing my tits, and I wasn't the only one. There was other comics, male and female. Like, it was a diverse like group of people. People were literally like, oh, she has to show her tits to be funny. Like, you're not, like, I basically got destroyed. But at the same time, it put me on everyone's radar. But like, now I'm like, fuck. Now my social media grew, and I came in with that big, like, hey, I'm Jamie. Nice to meet you, comedy scene.
Right.
I'm a little bit intimidated to get started. I had 2 calls this morning. I just told you. So now I'm doing a show next Thursday, and in Worcester, by the way.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so I'll give you the deets on that later. And then I'm doing a comedy event, like a battle with other comics, and also in Worcester.
Oh, wow.
So that's like my first time getting back up. It's just going to be like a show. But you know what? I'm at the point where I'm like, fuck it. All right, let's get over those insecurities. Like, you got to this point for a reason. You just have to keep reminding yourself that. And people don't realize when you bomb too, like, that's part of the process. Like, that's part of getting better. You want to bomb so you can learn what works and what doesn't work. It doesn't mean you're bad, you know?
Well,
right. Not all the time.
When I first started, I was just very competitive with myself. And if I bombed at a mic, I would go home like I bombed at the Comedy Store. Like, I was pissed about it. But I got some advice from some comic, Johnny Rock, in LA, and he said, like, at mics, you just go and say what you wanted to say, and don't worry about the reaction. Because honestly, sometimes at mics, if you get comics to laugh, it's a bad thing. Like either they're laughing at you, or if they're laughing honestly, there's a lot of times where comics are just fucked up and they'll laugh at something that no one else would ever laugh at. So you don't want to get into that. I mean, there are comics who go like Stanhope or whatever, go that dark route, and that's just not my comedy. So I got into that bad habit. So who I would be interested between, like, your friends, comedians, like, who treated you the worst about this? Was it just comedians giving you shit, or like did you get hate from everywhere?
Everywhere. Everywhere.
That sucks.
Yeah, when you put yourself out there and you're doing something different. So like when I got into like stand-up comedy, I don't think like comedy videos in stand-up comedy were as like prevalent as they are now. And so I remember a big like Boston comic made fun of me because I was doing YouTube videos like 2 years ago. And he's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, and he's like, you're doing stand-up, but you're brand new and you're making these videos. And I was like, well, I'm a comedian. I'm not just a stand-up comic. Like, I'm trying to be like funny in all aspects, doing podcasts and making videos. And I saw the future of video before COVID. And I was like, if you're not making videos now, not a lot of people in stand-up comedy. They're just focusing on stand-up comedy. Stand-up comedy is evolving. And so I think I was doing something that was like different, and people are confused when it's like not the normal thing that everyone in the scene is doing. Right. And post COVID, now people are like, hey, you were right. I should be making videos. If I started a year ago, I'd be so much bigger come COVID and like quarantine and things like that. And then I think even just during quarantine with like the Topless Comedy Zoom show and me just trying to do like random stuff and putting myself out there in intense ways, like people looked down upon that. I lost best friends. I lost 2 best friends like in the course of like 3 months for starting an OnlyFans.
Really? Guys or girls?
Girls, calling me a whore, telling me like no man will ever respect me, like am I off my meds, like fucked up shit. And I was like, whoa, like
Jesus,
you should be proud of me. I came from a really poor background and I worked my ass off to get to where I'm at. Like everything that I did on my own. Like I worked hard. I did things that no one else wanted to do to get here. And now I'm at a point where I can like quit my corporate job. Why aren't you happy for me? And you're just like, I don't know. And so there was a lot of that. My mom lost her shit because I like advertised my Topless comedy show in our town group, which I thought was funny because I got bullied in high school. So I was like, fuck all of you guys.
You advertised the Topless comedy in like the local, like what's going on in the town. Oh my God.
Yep. Because I give 0 fucks. Like that's one of my things. I give 0 fucks, and it's like you're gonna find out about it either way. And almost at this point, it was like a fuck you to everyone, including my mom. And I like a voicemail, and she's like, "You're showing your fucking tits to everyone in chat." And I'm like, "You raised me, thanks."
Did anyone from that group buy tickets?
Oh yeah, it was the hot topic in my town for a bit. And then when I like even the comedians, like there was a thread that was about me. This one girl was like, who's this dumbass white hoe bitch Jamie? Like she deserves my fucking foot up her ass. Like Boston comedian, screenshot of my picture, posted this in the comedy group. There's like 300 comments on this feed of people just trashing me in Boston comedy. But then you had people who were sticking up for me. And those people have been my friends to this day in comedy. And like I'm doing I don't know if you heard of Breaking Balls and like those groups are like,
no.
There's like a comedy group of like older men. I was just on their podcast last week and they were like, that's how you got on our radar. And we thought you were like the shit for that. They were like, we liked that about you. So as much as it hurt that time, like when I got all that hate, I think that hearing people now that I'm like doing well, say that kind of what made them like me because I didn't care and I just like put myself out there and was authentically me, made me realize like I was doing the right thing. Like people are gonna hate, especially when you're doing things that like people don't want to do themselves or have the confidence to do it.
Right. And it's like those people who are gonna shit on you, it's not like you fucked them over or something. It's not like you stole their boyfriend. It's just they weren't gonna be your real friend anyway. I don't know about you. I've always, like I said, I've always been a shy person. I've always had like one or two close friends. I've never had like friends where you have like all 8 of you are going out every night. And I prefer it. I prefer to know like the people in my life are actually like they actually like me and care about me versus like, oh, they're just there because
I think
yeah.
I used to have a lot of friends. Like I was always out. People were like, you know, all these people. And then after COVID and after me putting myself out there online, I really learned who was there for support and who like genuinely cared about me, and who people, when other people talk shit, I watched them leave so quickly because they didn't want to be associated with that. And now I'm at a point where it's like, I would rather have one friend. I would rather have one person who cares about me and is going to be there like to the end and support me when it gets tough, when it's not fun to support me, like when it's not cool to support me. And yeah, I think that's the most important thing. It's definitely opened my eyes a lot to like people and who they are and who you should keep in your life.
Right. And it's so weird. It's so weird how comedians portray this image of, oh, we're the free people, we tell the truth. And behind the scenes, whether it's about like sex stuff or the jokes you tell or the work you do, like people like they look down on you if you work on a sitcom. Meanwhile, you're making $1 million, like millions of dollars a year. Like it's they portray this thing of being open and doing whatever you want, but they're sometimes the most judgmental. And it's crazy also, like even guys and girl comedians, like they don't like that you're showing your tits, but then they'll have literally an hour on their sex life, the size of their dick. And I'm one of them. I have a lot of my jokes. my ending joke was I made a girl squirt once and it was the best day of my life. It was like the craziest thing I've ever done. But how can you tell jokes about that? And just the fact that you're you're not even doing that much. You're kind of being a little bit more guarded. You're showing yourself, but that people tell all these things and then they judge you. It's weird.
I think a lot of my comedy was about me being like a hot mess. I did talk about sex a lot, but it's all like a character I was playing, and like that's not necessarily like who I am. Like I have an OnlyFans, I'm abstinent. Like I don't even have sex. So like it's so funny what people think of me from what they see online. I'm like, I'm literally playing this character because it's what the content that you want to digest. Like as much as you're hating me for it, you're still watching it. It's still entertaining. Like, and I don't know, but it's made me kind of like switch away from wanting to just like talk about like sex and stuff. I want to like do different things because people have that assumption. So I want to show them like, no, there is more to me than this. I was just doing this because it worked and it helped me grow and I got like good laughs. Like it's not like, I'm not like, hey guys, my name's Jamie, my tits are huge, and people laugh. Like there's actual well thought out jokes, you know?
Right. Yeah. And it's my buddy is a porn director. And we were talking and he was saying like, did you know like the number one genre is incest? Like no one would ever admit
to brother.
Yeah. Oh God. I'm trapped under a table. There's so much like there's some disgusting stuff online, and I've seen most of it. But yeah, it's so you just brought something very interesting up. You're abstinent?
Yeah. I mean, I went through a breakup last year in like March, and it was like a hard breakup for me. Moved to a new state after, and that's like when I went to Boston. I don't know, I've had sex maybe like 5 or 6 like individual times like since then, and most of that with like one person. And then I was just like, this isn't fulfilling for me, and I think especially starting an OnlyFans, like the amount of people that came onto me and like hitting on me and just like getting sexual right away as if it was like an invitation, it just turned me off so much. Like I want somebody to see the marketing and the strategy and the sales behind what I'm doing. Like I have extensive experience in marketing and sales. Like there's a reason I'm putting this content out. There's a reason how I'm doing it. If you're taking it at face value, that says more about you. And I want somebody who sees that and they're like, she's fucking smart. And they talk to me about that and about me and about my goals, not like, yo, your ass is so fat, let me see your butthole. Like, and so the moment I stopped having sex, and like, I don't even date guys. I'm not even going on dates. There's not a single dude I'm talking to or flirting with, like, because it's so easy now to like read through the bullshit, and I'm not. And I think it's so funny now. I also like the fact that people are like, oh, you must be such a whore. It's like, no, I'm just making you think I am because it's making me money, but I'm not at all.
Right. So do you have a plan with the abstinence? Like, is it like a rule that you're sticking to, or is it just if you meet some guy that you're into, and I'm not asking you out. I'm just saying, like, in general, how long do you think this would last?
I don't think I'm going to have sex. I don't want to have sex until that person is going to be, I don't want to date unless you're literally trying to marry me. So like, if you're not trying to marry me and like, you are not like top of the line, like I don't want to date you. And so I think like
top of the line, I like it.
Yeah, it just, I value myself very highly. And so I want somebody who also values me that way and also values themselves that way. And so like, I don't know. I just think like, I'm not going to have a boyfriend for a long time. And if I do, I'm probably not even going to have sex with them right away. Like I'm going to make that person like really show me that that's what they want. Because even the times like I did wait like a couple months and then I started dating someone, like that shit hit the fan. I'm like, I don't even want to do that. You got to know you want me. And that's just like where I'm at. That might change. I might, be in a different place. But for now, like that's kind of my goal. And it's honestly, I feel so much better about myself. And like I sleep at night better. Like I'm go to bed happy. Just like knowing like I am doing the right thing for me. And so, yeah, I don't know. I guess that's my plan. I'm kind of a go with the flow kind of person. I'm just.
No, I like everything you're talking about. I mean, I was trying to think of a joke. I was basically abstinent, but it wasn't by choice for many years. But every time I would go and start dating, like sex, well, like in my 20s and even into my 30s, was like I like being in relationships, but it's because I have social anxiety and because it takes me a while to like warm up to someone. But even on the apps, a lot of times you'll talk with people and they'll say, "Oh, I want a relationship, this and that," and it turns into like a 1 or 2 night stand, pretty much for almost everything. And I broke up with someone like almost, I guess, 3.5 years ago after like 4.5 years together, and we broke up not because we weren't a good match like as a couple, but there were certain things that like it wasn't going to work out as a marriage. And if I made that decision then, I feel like I need to be a little bit more selective in dating and sort of get used to the idea of going back to maybe what our parents did. I don't know, but like, how you go out and just go to dinner and you don't just come straight to their house, take a shot and hook up and you're out in 2 hours. Like it can be fun. I'm sure it's terrifying as a girl. Is it terrifying as a girl?
I mean, I'm like very spontaneous and like I do crazy shit. Like my friends would always be like, Jamie, you're gonna end up on a fucking Amber Alert. Like,
right.
I went to Spain 2 years ago and I met this like boy. We like fell in love for 3 days and I spent every night at his place, like a random fucking Spanish dude. But we still keep in contact. But
oh, that's nice. At least he's a good Spanish
like
dude.
That.
Yeah.
So I think other women get scared, but now that I look back at those situations, I don't take them back. Like I don't regret them. I got a lot of experience, I learned a lot about myself and other people and what I like. But now I'm almost now more afraid now that I'm getting more like centered and grounded with who I am and what I want.
Right. Well, it's weird. When the pandemic started, I was like 70 pounds heavier. So the part of the reason why I wasn't dating, but I almost thought that it would be scarier for me to go make out with somebody as opposed to just going and having sex with them. Like, especially with COVID, like kissing, like being actually like open and intimate with somebody, whether it's kissing or like just in like an actual committed relationship, is a different kind of scary, but it's like you actually have to open up more.
It's intimacy. I think a lot of people, especially in my generation and like lower, like everyone has a lot of intimacy issues. And so I noticed like when you go to sex right away, you're like using that almost as like a form of intimacy that's not actual intimacy. So anytime it gets real, then people run. But you're already, for women, like you genuinely like have feelings for someone when you're having sex. Like even if you say like, oh, I can just fuck whoever, like biologically, like our bodies produce hormones that make you attached to that person. And so when it's just very different. I don't know. Yeah, it's intimacy stuff. And that's also why like I'd be afraid to kiss somebody. Like
right. And it happens for guys too. I hooked up with someone and it was we clicked pretty quickly. And the first night we were together, I was saying, like, I had to like actively tell myself, like, don't tell this girl you love her. Like it's weird how like
I'm like that too. I meet someone in a week and I'm like, so are we not babies? Like,
right.
What the fuck?
Yeah, but it's not good. I had a girlfriend in college. I'll never forget. She went to Wheelock, I think, down by Fenway, and we went to that movie theater right there. And I was on the train going back to Emerson, and I remember thinking, oh, that was fun, but I'll never see her again. And she texted me, hey, that was great. Let me know if you want to go out again. And because of that text, we dated for 6 months. And like I didn't. She wasn't a bad person, but it wasn't. You're allowed to go on dates and just not be into somebody.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
That was hard for me. I felt like I don't like confrontation, and that's where that came from. It's like if you showed any interest in me, then we were gonna date for 3 to 6 months.
I feel like I'm like picky, but when I don't click with a lot of people. But if you're one of those people that I instantly clicked with, like I fell for you super hard and I was ready to be like, let's do it. Like a relationship or whatever. And I think that also came though from like childhood trauma and me not being loved by my parents and like having abandonment issues. And so when I didn't get love from my parents growing up, like at all. And I never had it on my own because they were constantly telling me how bad I was. So when I had somebody like who was like, you're awesome and I love spending time with you, it was like, oh my God, I have it. I want to hold on to it as long as I can. And I will go in head first. And that didn't work out a lot of the times. And that's kind of why I'm also at this point now, because I don't have those like attachment issues as much anymore. I feel way more like able to see red flags and what actually would work. Are they actually a good long-term partner? Or are they just making me feel love that I haven't had before? And so I'm just like holding on to it.
Right.
But
so, and I'm just asking, I don't think this is, but I know people watching, some of the haters, they'll hear you say like, oh, I don't, she doesn't have a good relationship with her parents. That's why she's doing OnlyFans.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I mean, they're not wrong. Like,
You're very honest. I love it.
Yeah, like one of the reasons it's so easy for me to just authentically be me and be like, this is who I am and like be comfortable with myself is because I never had anyone looking out for me. I was always looking out for myself. There wasn't, at the end of the day, those opinions didn't matter. Everyone had told me no, everyone told me whatever. Like they weren't paying my bills. I've literally raised myself. I basically like had to hold my family together in high school when my dad went to fucking prison. Like my mom was a mess and an alcoholic. Like I had to do it on my own. So there was no one to disappoint. The only person that I'm going to disappoint at the end of the day is myself. And so it's a lot easier for me to put myself out there in ways that people are like, I couldn't do that because of my family. I didn't have that. And so, yeah, that's a huge factor of why I'm able to just do this, like unashamed, like shamelessly.
Well, the one thing that I'm hearing though,
but it's not because I don't respect myself,
right?
You know,
I think that's a big difference. What I heard was because of what you went through, you don't have like you don't have any like doubt or like you're put like because of the way you grew up, like you learn to work hard and to like take care of yourself. And it's not like, oh, I'm trying to get back at my parents, so I'm going to show my tits.
No, not
it's
at
like,
all. No.
I learned that I'm the only one who's going to care about me. And I have to do what it takes to survive. Yeah.
I saw for me, starting OnlyFans was a huge like business opportunity. I've been trained in the past like 6 years in marketing and sales. to watch like market trends. So I see that businesses are shutting down. I know 6 months from now, I'm trying to predict my income and how hard it's going to be to sell, because what you do now is going to affect you 90 days from now. And I was like, this might last longer than we have. I'm going to cut my income in half. Like, I have to think of other ways to make money. And I've always wanted to do online stuff, be an influencer, be a comedian. Like, I saw this, and then OnlyFans was starting to be talked about. And I was like, if everyone is in their house, this is going to be a fucking gold mine. And if I don't hop in it now, like literally at the beginning of quarantine, like is when I started, like a week before. And that first month of quarantine, I made 20 grand. Like, and I didn't have a big following at all. Yeah. And so I was like, if I don't get in this, I'm going to regret it. And I have so many people hitting me up 6 months later at like in the last fall, being like, I wish I started. Is it too late to start? Is it oversaturated now? Like, I was looking at it as a business opportunity. And so I was like, you know what? I went through a breakup. I moved to a new state. I have nothing to fucking lose at this point. Right. And I don't care if I lose my job, because that's the whole point. I'm taking the risk. I'm willing to jump in and bet on myself. And it fucking worked. And so I think people look at OnlyFans like people who don't have respect for themselves, or they're not forward thinking, or like they don't know how this is going to affect their lives. I knew exactly how it was going to affect my life. And it's affected my life in the best way possible. And I think that that's why, like, when people are like, oh, you have mommy and daddy issues, that's why you must have started it. It's like, yeah, I have mommy and daddy issues. That's why I'm a fucking badass bitch. And I can fucking be exactly who I am. And I'm comfortable with myself. What are you? Like,
right. Yeah. No, that's a great way to look at it. So because I talk to a lot of people about their podcast, and it's when you don't have a following, to build a following, especially to get them to pay for it, is super hard. It's like just because, like, for example, it's sort of like the NFT thing, which I really don't understand, but
me either.
I'm gonna relate it like this. The NFT is like you're buying the digital rights to something, I think, but you can always, like, the NBA is doing it, so they're selling clips of highlights, so you can see the highlight for free, or you could like own it. Like, if they want to see boobs, there's months of boobs online for free. But like, I guess you're the NFT of boobs in a way. Like, how did you? Yeah.
That's literally something I started a webinar that I sell to women to like teach them how to make money.
Right.
My biggest tip on OnlyFans and being successful is to not sell your body. You're not selling your body. There's porn out there. There's so many, like, you can literally, I can't even scroll my Twitter feed in fucking public without seeing somebody getting like DP'd. Like, it's just vagina after vagina. And so I have always made my social media about my personality. I post on my stories every single day. It's like a fucking little reality TV show, and people get addicted to it, and they watch it, and they engage in my content. And I say things that people are thinking that they're too afraid to say. Like, I purposely cross the line and do that because that gets them hooked on me and my personality. Before I did OnlyFans, I did network marketing. I was a fitness like influencer or whatever. I did like all of these little things, and it didn't matter what I was doing or what I was selling. People trusted me because I was so authentically me online. And so I don't have to go on TikTok and like show my butt to get subscribers. I literally can make a joke. I could be fully clothed in a sweatshirt in my car talking about my life, and guys see it, and then they're like, oh, she's cool. Oh, now she's an OnlyFans and I can get to know her. I'm selling an experience. I'm selling like intimacy and a conversation that you can have with me. Some guys don't even, because I didn't show my vagina or take my pants off. I mean, I do now occasionally, like for a very high price, but because I didn't for like the first year, I didn't even get asked. People weren't like up my ass about trying to see my vagina or my butt. Like, they'd make jokes.
Really?
But they were literally like, can I just pay to talk to you? Because I see you online and I want that experience. And I'm like, ladies, your personality will sell more than your fucking tits will. And it creates more long-term customers. Because if I stop doing OnlyFans, those people are still they're embedded. For OnlyFans, I have a podcast. I sent out my podcast and I said, anyone who listens to the full episode and leaves a written review on my podcast will get a free 5-minute video of me like talking dirty into the camera. I immediately one day, 18 people left reviews. Like, so now people are like, wow, your podcast is actually great. I love you and you're like co-host. Like, this is going to be my next new show. So now you're not just here for my tits. Now you want to listen to my show. Then you follow me on TikTok. It's literally all a marketing strategy. And it's a way for me to like monetize me just making content and doing what makes me happy. And then you don't have to go as far. And then you can charge more if you do want to go far. Because the value is automatically increased when it's not just about sex or your body.
Right. Okay. I have a lot of questions. Okay, so I'll start with this one. How do you, and maybe it's just not in you, for me, the hardest part about all of this is marketing, and for whatever reason, and I hate it, it makes me feel icky. And it's not that you do it in a bad way, but anything, and I know it's part of what we do, and I have to do it, and I'm starting to do it more, but I get into my own head a lot about, I shouldn't post this that much. I don't want to, and I feel a lot of comedians have that issue, and it doesn't sound like you had that at all, or do you?
Well, that comes from a place of insecurity and almost imposter syndrome, like not feeling like you're worthy enough to put it out there. But we consume content every day of those people putting themselves out there, and we love them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, just because I do like shamelessly like post who I am and like things, like it did get to me. Like, I'm insecure all the time about that stuff. Like, oh, is this weird? Is this too much? Like, I'll delete videos. Like, we all struggle with that. I think just like telling yourself, like, I literally do affirmations. I meditate. I'm very spiritual, where I have to be like, you are a badass bitch. Like, you are worthy. People want to hear what you have to say. Your story is important to people. You like what you have to offer. Like, people want that. And I have to tell myself that every single day. Just because I have haters, like, those people are just there to bring me down. I have to pay attention to what the people who do support me. And it started small. There wasn't a huge group of people supporting me, but that one person that was like, thank you for posting this. Thank you for doing this. Like, you brighten up my day with your humor or whatever it is. Like, I just have to try to focus on like that stuff. It's not easy. I think because I came from a poor family, I had to hustle my way out of that, out of like a shitty situation. Most people in my situation would be dead right now. Like, and I had to know, I was always told no, and I just had to fight through it. And then being in sales, I just realized marketing and sales is everything. And if you're not doing it, someone with half your fucking talent, half your skill is going to do it and do better just because they fucking made the decision to do it.
Right.
So I think that's, the super important, like, get out there, post your shit. The more you post your shit, like, people are going to be like, holy shit. And you're going to inspire people when they don't even tell you you're inspiring them, just by posting, just by being yourself.
It's so, God, you're like I need to have you as a spiritual guide. You're good. You're just so funny. That's because there's this dude in LA who, because whenever I put something out, I overthink it. Is this going to be right? And it took me like years to finally start my own podcast and be consistent with it. And this dude, I don't want to tell you what he does on here because it'll get out, but he just, whenever he has like a business idea, he'll do it. Just like that day, he doesn't worry about, like, I went to like 3 business plan courses, like a day-long event to like learn how to write a business plan, and he just does stuff, and some of them work and some of them don't, but it's like I just need to like stop thinking about it as much, and just like I'm about to, this is actually probably the last one that I record, or second to last one. I just got an office, which last month I lost $400. So I'm not anywhere near like making money yet, but I know that by like investing in myself with something small, It's not a lot of money, but it's like $400 a month. But like by doing that, I'm going to be able to shoot more videos, do more stuff. And it's, I just like even now I just feel anxious in my chest, and I wish I'm gonna need you to record something and be like, you're a badass bitch, you can do this. I'll just play it in my ears.
I literally, I can't, like, I'm on my phone right now. My phone screen is literally a list of affirmations of like things so I can look at myself when I'm feeling down and just remind myself it is a constant battle with who you like internally and the voice in your head that you have to fight every single day. And people don't realize like that battle that goes behind the scenes to be successful. And like, I think one of the things I struggle with, and I have to tell myself, is imperfect action is better than perfect inaction. And so I used to get caught up in the details. Now I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to do whatever. I made a lot of money on OnlyFans last year, and I spent a lot of money last year. And it was December, and I looked at my statements, and I was like, I'm going to owe $30,000 in taxes. And you know how much is in my bank account? $8,000. And I don't have that. So what am I going to do? Within a week, I was like, I have to start a business. I've never started a business. I fucking made it happen. I started an S corporation. Then I made a website in a week. And then I made topless calendars to sell because I was like, fuck it. This is going to make money. That flopped, made nothing. And I spent $1,000 on it. But
oh no.
In the meantime, I was like, well, I can't just focus on the topless calendars. So why don't I try doing a webinar? So I did webinars. That took off. So like, within 1 month, I had no idea what I was doing. And all of a sudden I was like, holy shit, I have a website, a business, and I just made it happen. Had I been like, I need to know exactly what I'm doing, I wouldn't have gotten to that point. You just have to like trust yourself. Like you have the answers within you, like no matter what. And when you just like listen to your intuition, like you'll make shit happen. And that's a fucking skill. It takes time to do that, you know?
Right. And yeah, even though you lost that grand, like
I made like $7,000 in webinars.
Oh, damn.
In 2 weeks.
Damn.
Like,
okay. Were they live or recorded?
I did live. I was all live. So I was doing them every single night, 3 hours long. It was exhausting. So then I switched my strategy recording. But then I started getting like TikTok started banning my videos because I was talking about OnlyFans. And I was like, this isn't going to work. I have to come up with a new strategy. So I did all of that in December. It got me through. But now I have to redo my strategy. Now I can't do what worked 4 months ago. And I have to constantly be like doing new shit. And that's all. You can't be afraid to just jump in it. Like I'm a manifesting generator. If I want to do something, I'm going to look at it and be like, let's fucking make it happen. And if it fails, I don't consider myself a failure. I consider myself a winner for learning. What did I learn from that experience? Okay, let's take it and do the next thing. You just gotta go at it.
You're fucking bad. I love it. So like that, I'm glad I waited to ask this question then. So how do you with your OnlyFans change up the content so that people don't just stay for 1 month, see your boobs and then leave?
So there is a lot of those people who just like subscribe to you for a month, get what they want, they saw your tits, cool. I don't focus on those people. So like I created a strategy to maximize every single subscription from the get-go. So that if they never subscribe, most people don't buy your content after, and most people don't talk to you. So I focus on the people who do talk to me. It's always about focusing on like the positives, right? So I get to know them. I get to know their families. I show them that I actually like give a shit. I'm like learning their kinks or like whatever. They're talking to me about their jobs. Like these people are getting very like deep with me and creating a relationship with me, and I'm treating them like a fucking person. And then I just try to switch it up. Like between, I'll do like, all right, I'm going to twerk and dance. Sometimes I make funny videos that are like my personality. I was like eating a banana. I was like, apparently people want my personality on here. So I'm like making jokes with the banana. Right. I'm like cooking. I'm just like being weird in my house. When you show your personality and you're funny, someone literally yesterday, he was like, do you know how I found your OnlyFans? I was like, no. And he's like, well, there was this other OnlyFans creator. Her name's Savannah Solo. Gonna give her a shout out. She's super into Star Wars. She is so fucking funny. She has such a good personality, and she's crushing it because she uses her personality. And that was like kind of why I did it. He goes, I thought she was funny. So I was looking up people who also showed their personality on OnlyFans because that's what I wanted. And I didn't want to just see someone's tits. So he literally searched comedy on OnlyFans, and then that's how I popped up. And he was like, and you were like that. So as long you can be showing your tits, but if you're showing, like, this girl Savannah will literally take her boobs and be like, "Hey, what's up? How you doing?" And like that's the content that she makes people pay for. I'm dead ass. It's so funny. And so I just started doing stuff like that.
Right.
So it's like they feel like they're getting to know me as they see the content, you know?
That's very smart. That's wild. It's I'm just blown away by, like, I don't know, people. I think they think the same thing about comedy. They probably look at you. Oh, she does OnlyFans. She takes a picture of her tits, puts it up, and takes a nap and makes 20 grand in a month. And it's like that's just not how it works. What is a day like for you?
Well, recently it's been, I think I have a lot of trauma and a lot of mental health things that I've had to work through. Why else does somebody get into comedy? Okay.
Right.
And I think with OnlyFans, it gave me the opportunity because I was in such like a masculine energy where I was like, go, go, go. I was the top sales rep in my office. Like I competed with the dudes. I played baseball and I was like such a dude. Like it almost like was scary because I like needed to make money and like make shit happen. And so then this summer I was like, okay, I have all this money coming in and it's kind of residual. So I can have an expectation of what I'm making. I just kind of took the time to like be free for the first time and like go out and party because I wasn't like working multiple jobs. And so, I mean, my average day is like, I'll wake up, I'll get ready, I'll go work out, I'll sit in my car for like 2 hours and make videos or answer DMs. And then I'll like come up with ideas. I'll watch TV, like I hang up my cats, I clean, like, and then I do a lot of mental health internal work. And that is preparing me. I know I'm just starting. This is not the last of people are going to see of me. I'm going to be on fucking TV because I have a vision. And so I have just been really focusing on making sure that I'm mentally okay. So when that happens, I'm not overwhelmed and getting triggered by things that would trigger me and kind of throw me into like week-long depression, like weeks of depression and things where I can't do shit. Like, so right now it's not much, but on the days that I am working, it's like I wake up at like 8:30 and then I'm working until 2 a.m. So I kind of I'm very thankful for OnlyFans because I have ADHD. So like there's days where I can't do shit and you can't get me to focus. And then there's days where I'm hyper focused for 12 hours straight and I will not pee and I will like literally sit at my computer. And my roommate's like, Jamie, you need to eat today. Did you drink water? And I'm like, I'm in a zone. Like, let me do it. So that's kind of where I'm at. It's kind of a mess. So I don't suggest anyone using my strategy, but it works for now.
No, hey, and that's a nice thing. You said at the very beginning, and I was gonna touch on it, but then we went in a different direction. How you said, like how you don't want a 9 to 5. When I left Joey, I spent the first few months applying to like 9 to 5 jobs, and it was hard before the pandemic, but then also there's literally millions of views of me being stoned out of my mind on the internet. And I'm not sure what the reason is. Either it was I was applying to the wrong jobs or they saw me high. And I just couldn't get one. And it's scary. There's a lot of comfort, at least for me, that comes from having a boss and a job. I like because I do that thing where I overthink. It's nice to have someone to say, this is what you're doing today for this much money, and then you get Friday and Saturday off. Like there is comfort in that. But since I really, like this year, I've really been focusing a lot more than I ever have on putting out podcasts a week, doing this, and I still have plenty that I could be doing, but it's nice that I don't have to wake up and get into traffic. I can I'm sure not now, but eventually I could take a week off and whenever I wanted. I don't have to ask anybody's permission if it's okay to go to lunch now. Like I had a boss once.
Oh, I love that.
I had a boss who would actually time, like not like time, but like set a time for our lunch breaks in the office.
Yeah. I'm like, oh god, I hated that.
Well, yeah, no, like what are you talking about? It's even though it's scary, and even if I don't end up making as much money as I'd like, which I think I could, but it's nice to be fully in control of it.
It's so freeing. And I will never go back. I miss having a boss. I miss like being told what to do and like having deadlines, because that would like motivate me.
Right.
But I think people think that you have to work super, super hard. When I tell you I maybe work 10 hours a week, like like actually sitting down working is like not that much. And I'm always on my phone, and so people don't realize like when I'm out and I'm doing things, like I'm working, so I can't really like measure what I'm doing. But it's not the same of like 8-hour work. You sit down and you work. It's kind of all over the place. But I don't know. I realize I don't have to work as hard to make money when I'm doing the right things, you know? And that takes time. And like right now, like my income, the past like 2 months, I haven't done shit. So like my income decreased because I was focusing on my mental health. I wasn't in a good place like mentally, and I needed to make sure I got through that. I did enough where I could pay my bills, but I allowed myself to like not have to do anything because I just knew I would get burnt out, which was the issue when I was in a 9 to 5. Like I could be the best sales rep for 6 months and then I would get burnt out, and I just couldn't mentally operate at the same time. And maybe I didn't show that at work, but it showed in all other aspects of my life. And I don't want that anymore. And I think that having the freedom to like, hey, I can take today off, but I'll work twice as hard tomorrow is like the best feeling ever. I never want to give that up.
Oh, and it's weird when your mental health starts bleeding, because I was the same way. I mean, I let myself gain 100+ pounds just because I felt in certain ways I was burnt out. And if people listen to this, like, yeah, I didn't have as long of a work week as some people when I was in LA, but
your mental health is still valid, so don't compare it to other people.
And it's not like the thing about mental health is it's not also necessarily like what's going on right now. It's like maybe I didn't like my mom when I was a kid begged me to do therapy, and I for some reason it's not like I had a macho thing. I just didn't want to tell anybody anything, and I haven't done it for about a year, but I think I'm about to go back because nothing is even really that bad, which I do. I do that a lot, where I like try to justify and make it seem not as bad. I'm mostly happy, but I'm not good at sharing, which is weird because I don't have a ton of people who listen to my podcast compared to like Joey and all those people, but I have a decent amount of people who watch and listen. And something that I get a lot is I say like you're always very open on the podcast, because I try to be, but I feel like it's a good, like this is good for me as an introvert because it's just me. No one's here like in my face.
Yeah.
Like I feel I'm much more comfortable doing this with you. Like we literally never met, and we're talking about mental health and
I love that.
like family issues, and there's something about, I don't know, about putting it out online that even though it might be a little bit more vulnerable, like I'm in control of it in a weird way, instead of like having to go and talk. I have friends who have lifelong friends who I've never talked this openly with about like mental stuff. It's weird.
I think being in the industry that we're in, I think to be good, like you have to be open and vulnerable, and people don't realize like how difficult that is. Like I haven't always been this open or grounded or been able to like share that or even understand what I'm feeling. Like, God, I was a fucking mess for years. Like, and so it takes a lot. It's a start. I think podcasting is awesome. Like, and people who are in the industry, like, we're not judging. We are all fucking going through that and putting ourselves out there. So it's way easier to do that with a stranger who's like also doing that than your best friend. You know what I mean? Like there's people that I'm more open on stuff like this than people in my real life because they won't even understand what I'm fucking talking about, you know?
Right. Oh, exactly. Yeah, they have no idea. So the thing that you were bringing up with the work is something that it goes kind of back into marketing that I struggle with, is charging what you're worth for some things. I have a big problem. People like make Jewish jokes, and I make them too because they're easy and cheap. The jokes, not the people.
I'm Jewish,
But
so it's fine.
oh, cool. Yeah, so am I. But I have a big problem asking for money. I feel like it makes me feel gross in the same way, and it shouldn't, because I know other people. How else am I gonna make a living? But how did you like learn to like price yourself what you're worth?
You tell people what you're worth. People don't tell you what you're worth.
Right.
And so when I first started OnlyFans, I charged $30 a month. And you charge extra to see anything, like $20 for one picture of my fucking tits. Like, and I got hate in the beginning for that. People were like, are you fucking kidding me? Porn's for free. These girls are charging $3.99. I'm like, well, that's on that. I'm going to show you how to treat me. I'm going to show you how to value me. And that comes from valuing myself first. And so I was like, no, I'm going to be on TV. I'm thinking like future, like, and that's the direction I'm going. And so that's the perceived value that's there. And so I started marketing myself really as like, okay, I'm going to jump into comedy. It's not going to be something I'm doing on the side. I'm going to market myself as a stand-up comedian. This is what I want to do. And I'm going to pretend I'm already there. You know what I mean? Like, not pretend, but like, I'm going to step into that role of who I want to be. And so in order for me to do that, I can't, like, I don't know. And also, I wasn't even sending nudes like really for free before. So like, it's not going to be $3.99. Hell no. I at least get a free dinner before someone sees my tits. So,
yeah.
like,
Oh my god.
And that's like a fucking $100 tab. So I don't know.
Yeah. Not going to McDonald's. You're going to Legal Seafoods or something. You gotta go somewhere nice.
Exactly. I think that you just have to know. I was selling webinars, and I was selling all this information. I started selling it for like, I think I sold it for $39.99 when I first started. Now I charge $50, but now I realize that the information that I can give to girls are complaining that's so much money, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, but I had a girl who's making $200 a month, like barely making any money. She watched my webinar, and that's within 2 weeks, like made $2,000 that month. Like just from, so like the value of what I had was like, holy fuck, I have a lot to offer. And it wasn't until I started talking to other people who valued themselves and priced high. They're like, you're undervalued. Like you're underselling yourself. And I was like, really? They're like, you have a lot to say. Like, you know, a lot of information that's worth a lot. Don't let these people who don't want to pay, then those aren't your target audience. Start targeting to people who can pay. Start targeting people who want, you know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. Now, do you think that someone who might not be into OnlyFans, but someone like me who's into like the online content, could benefit from your OnlyFans like webinar? Like, I'm just thinking, I know some of it might be specific to OnlyFans, but I think it could probably translate.
I think that anyone in comedy can benefit from OnlyFans because it's just another platform like Patreon. There's so many people who are on OnlyFans that are not doing sex work at all.
Right. I know. I meant your webinar, not like not OnlyFans. I know,
but like
okay.
But like you can learn how to make money from that. I think I teach a lot about like social media, and there's like sales tactics, like how I word things, how I respond to people to like get the sale. I took everything that I learned I took Grant Cardone's sales training. And he's I don't know if you know Grant.
Oh yeah, of course I do.
So I took that sales training, and then I went into sales. And so I took all of that, and that's literally what I implement in my comedy content and how I talk to people, like these conversations. And so like the more that you know, the more you're able to sell. So like I think that the webinar definitely has that aspect to it. I think if you're not in a place or you're not open to understanding and seeing a bigger picture in marketing and sales, then you're going to look at it. Like I had a girl and she's like, oh, I knew all of this, blah, blah, blah. Like I want my money back. And she was only making like $1,000 a month. And I was like, if you're not seeing the value in this webinar, it's going over your head. So it depends on where you're at, I guess. I think it could be very helpful in anything that you do. It's all about just selling yourself and how to sell yourself in a way. I talk a lot about setting boundaries with people, how to price your stuff, why you shouldn't price low, like why you should you should value yourself way higher than you think you're worth, because it's a lot easier to go down and give people a discount than it is to charge $3.99 to see your pussy and then be like, hey, it's $30 or like whatever, you know?
Right.
So yeah. I talk a lot about that in the webinar. So I think, yeah, my goal is to create a course where there is a whole marketing and sales like portion, and that's just it. Like not even about OnlyFans, so that you can take that content and information anywhere, because I think that's valuable. Right now it's still like, it's not even professional. It's like a live recording of me doing a webinar to other people and just kind of like shooting the shit. I'm like smoking weed on it. Like I'm just like, whatever. I'm my own boss now. No one can tell me shit. I'm like, I'm gonna light up a blunt while we're doing this.
That's great. No, but that's all. It's your personality. This has been great. I came on and I had a lot of sex questions at the beginning, but it's like, and I hope that I don't think it offended you, but it's
no,
like, you know, it really does show like how much of like a bit, like you treat it as a business, and yeah, like you're showing your boobs and stuff, and it has a sexual undertone, but there's a lot more to it.
I hope that anyone who listens to this sees that there's a lot more to it. And that's like my goal, is like I want to share more of that so that people know like there's a lot going on in here. And so, and if people don't realize that, sometimes I don't want them to. Sometimes I want them to think I'm dumb and stupid and just a hot girl who shows their tits.
Yeah.
Because you're still going to buy it. So like, you feed into the content that I'm making.
Right. Oh, no, that's bad. So where can people find you?
You can find me at Jaime Lee Comedy anywhere. It's JAIME. YouTube, TikTok, Instagram.
and do you want people to find you on OnlyFans, or are you taking a break?
Yeah, it's Jaime Lee Comedy as well.
Okay. And do you have any comedy dates coming up in the next month or so?
I do have a show. I literally just booked a show right before I got on this. Next Thursday. That's like my first one in a while. So
okay. I don't think this will be out by then. So you killed it in Worcester. Yeah, no, thank you so much, Jaime, for coming on. This was awesome.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I had a great time.
Thank you very much to Jaime Lee for coming on. She's not just an OnlyFans creator. She's a businesswoman. She's a comedian. She's very funny, very nice, and very beautiful. You saw that. I have no idea what a butthole smells like, but if I had to guess, roses and pizza. I don't know. She had a video. If you check out her Twitter, it should still be on there. She had a video where she promoted her OnlyFans with like she was laying on with a bunch of pizza, and as a horny fat guy, that was very exciting for me to look at. But sorry, Jaime, but it's true. Check it out. Thank you very much for watching and listening. Thank you very much to everyone on my Patreon, patreon.com/LeeSyatt. And thank you very much to Manscaped. Don't forget, the Lawnmower 4.0, it's here. It's here for your dad's balls. Father's Day is coming up. Go to manscaped.com and use code Syatt to get 20% off plus free shipping. And thank you for sticking around for the journey. I'm getting close to, we're probably about 6 to 7-ish weeks away from me losing the last 18 pounds until I'm down 100 pounds. And when I lose 100 pounds, I'm going to have a big surprise for you that I'm very excited about filming. And that's it. I love all of you. Thank you very much for checking out What Was I Thinking? Tell a friend, tell a pal, and have a great is this the last week of May? 30 days of yeah. Wow. You just realized that I have to sing that song every time I try to figure out how many days are in a month. And that is a little treat for everyone who made it to the very end. So, and have a great last week of May. I'll see you in June. Got a bunch of great podcasts coming up. And I love you. Have a great day, a great week, and I'll see you next week on the What Was I Thinking podcast. Bye, guys.